In this video, I'm not going to tell you the definitive order to read these books, but I am going to tell you my reading order and the way I adapted to it, and share with you my journey through the Cosmere. Wow. There is a lot to get through with the Cosmere, with all the connections and the small things, and I'm definitely in no way, shape or form an expert. But if you think I'm doing a lick of research or fact checking for this video, brother, you're even stupider than you look right now. Full disclaimer, also, I haven't read White Sands. I'm waiting for it to become available in novel form. It's just not available. I just can't get it anywhere else. Also, I'm not really going to go on the story/plot points, but I will point out the connections between these books as I stumbled across them organically. These connections are going to be categorized into character connections and Cosmere, lore, mechanic connections, things like that. My journey started with the Stormlight Archives. I read the first 4 books in order, and at the time of recording this, I'm halfway through book 5, but I'm leaving this out of that video for obvious reasons. I haven't finished it yet, do you? This was the start of my reading journey after my friends were talking about how good this series was. Before this, I think I read maybe like 4 books in my life, and if you told me that I would have the reactions I had whilst reading these books, I would have called you crazy. Book 1, Way of Kings, chasm jumping part. Just chills. I was home alone reading this book, and I was still, hey yo, hey! That stuff was so hype. Woo! By the time you finish Stormlight Archives, you should have a firm understanding of how gods/shards work. You learn on a specific planet, Roshar, there's specific gods that allow a specific magic system. You also learn that these gods were once part of a higher god that has since been shattered and splintered into different aspects of that one higher god. Got it? Good. Next up, I read Secret Project 1, Tress and the Emerald Sea. This book is the Cosmere version of Princess Bride. It's cozy, it's charming. Mwah. This book furthers your understanding on how magic works in the Cosmere and does have light character connections to Stormlight. I read Elantris next, which was Brandon Sanderson's first published novels. The connections in this book are a bit subtle because, like I said, it was the first published book. You didn't have anything to reference off at the time. But again, this particular reading order, you come across these references, Easter eggs, connections. It's actually pretty fun. Again, your understanding of the Cosmere rules and the god system and how it is, all that stuff, it is enhanced. Light character connections to Stormlight and Tress. Next up, Warbreaker. Keep in mind that if you're reading these books in the order I have so far, the connections are pretty obvious. Cosmere awareness in this book is pretty low, but big character connections to Stormlight. And now we get to Mistborn Era 1. Whilst I was reading the first 4 Stormlight Archives, I thought this would be enough for me. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole of the Cosmere. So me being me, I watched a 3-hour-long lore video on Mistborn Era 1 on the Warriors and Wizard YouTube channel. Check them out. I didn't remember a lot of the video and the small minute details, but what I did remember was pretty much the Deus Ex Machina of the last reveal. Did it matter? No. Shit was still dope. Widely agreed that this is the preferred jumping in point to start your journey. If you start with Stormlight like I did, it's like learning to drive in a Mack truck with 3 gear shifts and 4 pedals and stuff happening everywhere. Mistborn, however, is like a Toyota Camry. Safe, smooth, reliable, has all the things you want. Reverse camera, Apple Connect. Sponsor me, Toyota. These books have character connections to Stormlight Archive and Cosmere connections to Stormlight, Tress, and Elantris. I'm going to group these next 2 books together because they are set between the main series of Stormlight Archives, so it's obvious connections and character references. Dawnshard and Edge Dancer. These 2 books introduce an element to Stormlight that, unless you're a super sleuth, you had no idea this element was in the background the whole time. It almost makes it worth reading the first 4 again just to pick up on these little hidden goodies. It's Next was ArcanumUnbounded, a book of short stories set throughout the Cosmere. First up, we have Emperor's Soul. It's set on the same planet as Elantris, but has a different spin on the magic system, like character connections to Stormlight. Hope of Elantris, a short story of the characters from Elantris, so obviously character connections there. 11th Metal, origin story for characters in Mistborn Era 1, obvious character connections there as well. Alamancir Jack and the Pits of Eltania, very contained short story. Doesn't really do much lore-wise, but again, enhances your knowledge and how things work on Scadrial, the Mistborn planet. Shadows for Silence in the Forest of Hell. This book was creepy. In this particular order, you get enhanced knowledge for now. Sixth of Dusk enhances your Cosmere knowledge, and I'm probably wrong on this one. I'm pretty sure there's a connection to Stormlight in the form of birds. I don't know, I could be wrong. I probably am. Don't fact check me. My favorite book in the series so far, Secret Project, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I read this book in like 4 days, which is massive for me. This book was just so damn good. This book was so easy to read along with. It's just smooth, it just worked. Basically picturing a Studio Ghibli movie in my head the whole time. Mwah! Light character connections to Stormlight and Cosmic connections to Stormlight and Tress. Sunlit Man, Secret Project 4, Han Solo in space, but not Star Wars space. Huge character connections to Stormlight, Cosmic connections to Stormlight, Mistborn, and Shadows for Silence. See how everything's linking up. I read this book on the train and made a fool of myself, but again, this shit was hype AF. Mistborn Era 2. Buddy cop in Victoria, England. Sick action. I really enjoyed Era 2. Hot take, probably more than Era 1. Character references to Era 1 further enhanced your Cosmere understanding in total as well, the way shards and gods work. Now, the only thing I do recommend is the Lost Metal being last in your reading order. This is the closest thing we get to an Avengers Assemble moment in these books so far. Character connections to Emperor's Soul / Elantris, and Cosmere connections to Tress as well. Now, cheat code activated, because these books do have a character that's in pretty much all of these books. Doesn't really do much for plot wise, but he's always there to, nudge the protagonist in the right direction or something like that. And this fact that he's here, you can start seeing, okay, so interplanetary travel is a possibility somehow. You still with me? Now, I want to give an example of a Cosmic connections that I'm talking about here. One is the use of metals having similar effects on the magic system, regardless of what planet you are on. In Mistborn, the use of aluminium is used to basically cancel out or drain the user of magic per se. In Stormlight, they have these shards blades, which are essentially medieval lightsabers that can cut through anything except, you guessed it, aluminum. I'm going to piss off some people here. In Tress and the Emerald Sea, you have steel and iron that are used to shape, push and pull the magic invested vines that grow. In the world Mistborn, they can ingest steel or iron and basically push or pull on metals, like Magneto. This is just one small lore mechanic bit that you come across whilst reading all these scattered books. But once you have the knowledge and you come across these things organically, it tickles your brain, but in a good way, not a go see a doctor way. Now, there are a ton more little connections that these books have with each other as you explore the Cosmere. You pick up on things in your own time, you don't really miss out, but if you catch them, it does enhance your journey. The genius of Brandon Sanderson is that you can read these in almost any order and you don't get FOMO. The way I read it, though, I truly believe had reveals popping off at the right moments, enough to keep me hooked, make me keen to read the next book. That sort of organic sort of coming across these Easter eggs as they occur. Now, I know there are a lot of better quality videos and forum threads to explain the Cosmere, but again, this isn't really a Cosmere explained video. But if you are still watching this video, I want to thank you. I'm trying something different. I want to try and make a couple more videos like this. Basically, I want to thank you for letting me guide you through the Cosmere through my eyes. That's the title of the series.